Are you saying that that while you may favor
Yes.
a complete lockdown for another 2 weeks beyond the 14th of April, that depending on the situation, then after that perhaps a gradual lifting and containing any remaining cases through the infrastructure that you have? Is that what you're suggesting?
The intent is essentially, it's a simple strategy if you ask me. You look at the United States and a city like New York and a state like New York, one of the most affluent nations in the world, and the financial capital, as is typically talked about, of the world, New York. And today, look at their plight, today look at their situation. 30,000 ventilators are required for the state of New York. They don't have more than 11,000. So the world is not prepared, not just India, not just Telangana, but the world itself is not prepared for a pandemic of this size, this proportion. The only way we can contain this, in our opinion, in our humble opinion, is to delay it as much as possible. So our proposal to Government of India was more in tune with this idea that the longer we extend this lockdown, the better it is in terms of containment. And beyond the 30th of April, we have to take stock of the situation. We have to take, a look at where we are in terms of stages. People are saying we are in between stage 2 and stage 3. We haven't witnessed a community transmission yet. So we have to take into account all things, the spread of the pandemic, whether we are still having any localized spread or we are actually getting into a stage 3 with community transmission. We have to take into account all this. And then we have to see how lockdown can be, exited or, lifted.
So can I ask you finally, in terms of the other important thing, which is testing. Today we had Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal announcing that Delhi is really going to ramp up testing in a big way in the next few days. Is that something Telangana is looking at as well? Increasing testing, particularly in those zones where which are hotspots or which are containment zones, as other states have as well, that you have random testing, that you really go in for more aggressive testing, at least there?
I haven't seen what Mr. Kejriwal has said, but I've only heard through sources that he said about 1 lakh people will be tested in Delhi. But my question to you and my question to everybody who's watching this channel right now is for you to just appreciate the fact that a country of 1.3 billion people and a city-state like Delhi, which I believe has around 4 crore plus people, if you're only going to test 1 lakh people, how is that going to suffice? My personal view, and our view in Telangana government as well, is that indiscriminate testing, especially when a fear psychosis is gripping the nation, fear psychosis is gripping the world, may not help us. In fact, it might cripple our medical infrastructure. It might even cause a lot of hardships, economic hardships, to the people who are already in this fear psychosis. It might lead to private centers, private testing facilities exploiting the situation and charging a bomb to people who want to get tested even though they are asymptomatic. So in fact, it might actually lead us into a vicious cycle, which might even inconvenience the nation even more. So I'm most certainly not for indiscriminate testing. We are most certainly not for indiscriminate testing. But we could certainly look at the possibility of containment through cluster testing. Wherever we have seen, positives pop up, looking at those clusters, containing them effectively, quarantining them, isolating them, I think that could be the way out of this.
All right. Well, KT Rama Rao, thanks very much for joining us, giving us some perspective on what the Telangana government is thinking. The next few days will clearly be very crucial in deciding what path the centre chooses to take as well. Thanks very much.
Thank you.